Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another episode on the HighLevel Experience podcast. Our guest today is a true innovator in the world of social media marketing and business coaching, with a journey that took her from a high-level corporate position to co-founding a groundbreaking social CRM. She has made it her mission to empower entrepreneurs with the tools and strategies they need to thrive in the digital landscape. Not only has she disrupted the industry with her innovative approach, but she's also a TEDx speaker and former collegiate rowing coach, breaking records and inspiring others along the way. Please welcome to the show, Jenna Larson.
Thank you so much for having me.
Great to have you, Jenna. Jenna, your journey, from high-level corporate career to all those, everything things, all the way down to now, this revolutionary CRM, is really inspiring.
Thank you.
I'm curious, what was like the pivotal moment that made you decide to leave the corporate world and dive into entrepreneurship?
Yeah, it's so interesting. I actually loved my job. So I worked for one of the largest universities in North America, and I did tons of information when it comes to like getting new clients and retaining people and making sure that they continue to buy over and over and over again. And what was so incredible about that position is I loved it. I was good at it. And I literally was done with my job by about like 11 o'clock every day. So it was one of those things where I was like, this is the life I'm never leaving. Fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know, at the time I was at church one day and kind of got a knock on the head that was like, hey, you're quitting your job and you're starting a business. And I was like, no, I'm good. Like, you got the wrong girl. But he was persistent with me and he was like, nope, you're going to take everything that you've done in the corporate world and you're going to open up a business and you're going to start teaching online entrepreneurs. And so
Who was that? Sorry, I missed that. Who was forcing you?
It was God. Yeah.
Okay.
No, like literally.
What?
That's so funny. Yeah. No, he was the one knocking on my head, like, yeah, you're going to do something else. And so I literally took everything from my corporate experience and I started teaching, online business owners how to get more clients, but more importantly, how to retain them, because we know that once you get a client, that's a little bit hard, but once you have them, it's so much easier to keep them.
100%.
And so I originally started with a different company that was called Drive Performance Coaching. And I basically, kind of went back to all of my collegiate coaching. We also coached former Olympians and all of my corporate experience. And I literally took that and started teaching those clients. What was really incredible is that the things I was teaching them in terms of acquiring and keeping their clients was working so well. But what happened was we actually created a problem because our clients were getting so many leads, so many conversations, so many clients, but they literally had no way to track it. And at the time, right, all of our clients are getting their lead flow from social media. And so what they were having to do is go take the leads, copy and paste into a spreadsheet or copy and paste into a different system. And they were just like losing it. They were like, thanks, Jenna. This is all really great. But now we're like completely overwhelmed and we can't sustain it. And so I was like, okay, this is a good problem, And so one day I was driving to a holiday party and I was like, oh my gosh, wait a minute. We just need to create a CRM where the people are hanging out, which is on social media. And so I called Nathan, who at the time he was a client of mine. He had a different software company where I was teaching him how to get sales online for that company. And I was like, Nate, you have to build this thing. And he was like, it's not possible. That's not going to happen. And so I was like, well, that's not the answer I was hoping for. And then about 2 weeks later, he messaged me and he was like, Jenna, I did it. I built it. And I'm like, built what? At this time I'm thinking, I don't even know what you're talking about. But yeah, so about 4 years ago, our new business, which we are now co-founders of, is GroupTrack CRM. And it's basically a CRM that hangs out and integrates on top of Facebook and or Instagram. We're going to be launching on LinkedIn and School shortly, but man, in the past 4 years, it has just kind of blown up and been this big thing, but we kind of joke it's our accidental business. So the other business got canceled. We're on, really focused on GroupTrack now. So very, very crazy story to get here, but very cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing better than be super focused on one business. Spreading yourself too thin, it never really works.
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell us about this GroupTrack CRM. So you mentioned, so it integrates with Facebook and Instagram, but obviously we know that there are some rules and regulations, and Facebook is very
Yeah.
protective, and there's things like your accounts getting shut down and all that. So how do you overcome all that?
Yeah. I mean, we're very attuned into terms and conditions, our developers on top of things all the time. And what's really cool about kind of our vision and our mission behind Group Track is we're actually very anti-spam and anti-cold DMs and just a lot of the practices that really don't work. And what's beautiful about that is Facebook wants what Facebook wants. Same with Instagram. And so when you're doing the behaviors that support what they want, they're happy, right? And so there are people who will use our tool, for example, who are just cold DMing, cold pitching, cold friend requesting, and things like that. They will go to what we call Facebook jail, right? Where their account kind of stops. But that would happen whether they use our tool or do it manually.
Hmm.
And so, what's really cool is like as all of these restrictions come out, in which Facebook and Meta just did like some massive changes in terms of DM rules, what's always been really incredible is that because of our core mission, which is truly to just help you scale your personal relationships, not replace them, what we have found is that nothing has even changed with our daily operations in the way that we show up on social media because we're already doing and teaching exactly what Meta wants. So our customers find that they go to Facebook jail less. They have more interactions. They're able to message more people because what is really at the core of it is being a human and connecting in that very human way. So we've seen some really good things in that way.
Okay, well, let's unpack it a little bit more in more detail. I'm a bit of a nerd as well, so I like kind of going the nitty gritty of the whole thing. So you mentioned your thing is not doing cold email outreach. It's more about so do I understand correctly? You wouldn't recommend using it to reach out to contacts who don't know you. It's more about reaching out to contacts you already established some relationship with. How do you then make it? Because even like I've got people in my friends connections on Facebook, and I don't talk to like we all have tons of people, and some you
Yeah.
just don't talk to at all, and then suddenly they just drop you like a DM, and it's like you feel like unfriending them because it's like they just come across
Yeah.
salesy right away. So how do you
Yeah.
do this, and how do you do it at scale?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that we would recommend, right? Like, so you're talking about your friends list. And we would absolutely recommend that you treat your friends list like a database, right? We want the friends that you have on that list to be truly people who are your ideal client. And so there's a lot of ways that you can do that, right? Our number one strategy that we teach for lead gen is to partner and link arms with other people who have audiences full of your ideal client.
Hmm.
What you and I are doing right now is that, right? I'm coming into your community who has a need that we can fulfill. And so when you do that in partnership with the owner of that community and you get leads that way, the beautiful thing is these people are opting into your world, right? They're hearing you talk to this person and they're building trust, right? Me simply being here with you, I have proximity, I have credibility in your market because you have brought me in and you trust me, right? And so when you do it this way, the leads that you get, the people who opt into learning more are warm leads that trust you, that already kind of feel like they know you. And so when you shoot them a DM to follow up, they're expecting it. It's not weird, right? Versus what a lot of our competitors will teach and what a lot of people are doing in the world is like they'll go to someone else's Facebook group, add all the people, send them a friend request, and then in the DMs, they just shoot them pitches. And when we do that, we're giving marketing a very bad name, right?
Hmm.
Because just like you said, when you get the cold DM from someone and you're just like, really, dude? Like, you don't know me, you haven't taken a moment, right? Versus connecting with people that actually want to talk to you. So we, as I mentioned, we're kind of loud about this, to be honest, which I'm sure we repel a lot of people who are like, oh no, I really want a cold DM. And, this is the thing. And I think a lot of people just don't know better. And this is the thing with all the new Meta rules that are rolling out with the DMs, they're going to be stopped, right? So Meta has rolled out these 3 new rules that are going to be really impacting a lot of people who are doing this very cold DM strategy. And so again, what we've been so, confirmed in as these rules have rolled out is that the things that we're doing, the things that we're teaching are in line with what Meta is looking for. And therefore, our clients are still having really good success in this market. And so, again, just to kind of like wrap that into a bow, we would definitely recommend instead of just blind friend requesting, blind DMing, that instead you go get in front of audiences full of your ideal client. You get to know them. You ask them to DM you, in fact, right? And do all sorts of little things like this where they're kind of coming to you. But I would say in terms of your friends list, I would absolutely work it, right? We want to fill our friends list with tons of people who are our ideal clients. But here's the thing. What is the point of social media if we're not being social, right?
Mhm.
That's what Meta wants. It wants you to connect. And so when you send me a friend request, even if I don't know you, I'm going to add you to GroupTrack because I'm going to track you and say, okay, you're a potential lead. I'm going to send you a message that says, hey, thank you so much for connecting. What's the point of social media if we're not being social?
Yeah.
Right. And then I'm going to say something like, tell me what you're up to. Let's see if we might be able to support one another. And what I want you guys to hear from that is it's not, do you want to buy my thing? Right. Because let's be honest, let me pull back the curtain for a minute.
Yeah.
I would so much rather get in front of your audience and sell to all your friends than I would ever try to sell you in the DMs. Right. And
Mhm.
so here's the truth, right? If we start up a conversation and say, what's the point of social media? Without being social, love to learn what you're up to see if we can support each other. That conversation is a very different one, right? It is based on collaboration. And it's not like, oh, hey, how are you? What's going on? And then trying to transition into a business conversation so you don't look spammy. You know what I mean? And so that's one of the templates we actually give you built into GroupTrack. So one of the things, obviously it's a CRM, it's a follow up system with pipelines and stages and so forth. But we actually give you a lot of DM templates pre built into the system that we know work. We had a client the other day who sent that one message that I'm talking about right now, had a $3,800 sale. And again, it wasn't, hey, do you want to buy my thing? It's like, hey, what do you do? Let's talk. Let's see how we can support each other. So I know I've gone on a little rant here, but we feel very strongly about like there are really good ways to do this and to do the things that Meta wants you to do without kind of getting into that spammy yuckiness.
Yeah, I can tell you're very passionate about this topic. So, look, the follow up question from this is like you mentioned, treat your contact list, treat your friends list on Facebook as your database, but not everybody is your ideal potential client. There are friends that you just want to keep having as just friends, schoolmates,
Uh,
whatever, and family.
Yeah,
So, is there an easy way to segment this so that you exclude them from any of this? And is there a
absolutely.
way to do it at like in bulk or at scale, or do you have to
Oh,
manually
yeah.
select that for
Yeah.
us?
Yeah, absolutely. So with Group Track, you can literally go over to your friends list, click
Mhm.
a button that says add all your friends to your pipeline. So for those of you who are not aware, which I'm sure most of you are, right? Just like we have in HighLevel, you've got a pipeline where you're going to kind of manage your leads through a system. And the idea is to go from A, which would be like, hey, we just met, all the way to Z, which would be you're now my client, right? And as you're working your leads through that system, the idea is to connect and uncover needs and kind of, move them through. And so, as I mentioned, if you go over to your friends list and you click one button, you can simply add all of those people into your pipeline. And what we would encourage you to do is just to mark them as potential leads. And then as you start working your leads, meaning again, we just like from the bottom of our heart, believe that you should be in the DMs with people, right? And again, in case you don't know, when you're in the DMs with people, they're more likely to see your content on social. So we really want to have that connection. And so as we're
Oh,
working our leads,
wait. So, are you saying that there's a correlation with how the algorithm works in terms of reach
yes,
and people that you're like recently messaging with?
yep. And you'll start to notice when you DM people, you're going to see their stuff, which means when you DM people, they see yours. So absolutely. And so, right, as we're working our leads now, they're all in a pipeline. And as I go to work each individual person, I'm like, okay, is this actually a potential lead or is this a family or friend?
Mhm.
And so we just simply have one stage in the pipeline that says personal friend, not a good fit.
Mhm.
And so we'll just mark them in that stage. And that way we know, okay, we're not going to message them. We're not going to, kind of move them through our sales pipeline. And so it really allows you to segment and, you can message them in bulk or you can do it individually. One of the things to just know is, yes, Group Track does have bulk messaging. And what that means is, it's not a broadcast. It's not going to be like, oh, I have 5,000 friends, 5,000 people are going to get a message at once. You would go to Facebook jail. That is very much against what they want you to do. What you can do, though, is basically put them in Group Track's queue. And the way I like to describe this is like a line at Disneyland, right? You want to go on the Matterhorn, but the line can sometimes take a while. And so basically, we put them in line And as it's their turn, they go on the ride. And so same thing with your DMs.
Wait,
As it's
there
turn.
there's also two lines in these Disneyland parks. They've got the VIP, you pay extra and you go
Yeah.
faster. So
Yeah. Right.
what do you do there is like if you're DMing and then you already got somebody that's further down in the pipeline, can you have them in a more like a prioritized?
You can. So when you queue up messages, you can say, put this group of people to the front or just add them to the queue as they go. So
Okay.
it's very, yeah, you can kind of decide based on that. For when I work my friends list, I actually prefer to do it manually using group track versus like a bulk automation, just because again, like I'm like, get the microphone close. I just so much believe that you should have genuine conversations with these people. And so the other thing I just want to kind of mention is group track is not a bot. And so a lot of times people think, oh, you send a message using group track and then the person responds and then group track responds. And it is not that. Group track can start your initial message. And sure, you can have all sorts of templates built in so that you're not retyping responses as you go, but it is not going to just sit there and answer for you.
Mhm.
And again, that's one of the things we will never build at group track, even if we could, which probably you can't, but we wouldn't because it goes against what we believe, which is that, sure, let's start the conversation. But once someone responds, let's be a human,
Yeah.
truly uncover their needs and only make them an offer if you've uncovered that they truly have a problem you can solve. And that's like the big thing with cold DMing and cold pitching that I just like, why are we doing this? We're just like shooting spaghetti at the wall, like making all these offers. People are immediately turned off. It shocks me that people are still doing this practice because I can't imagine it works.
Yeah. Now, even if you like, there's some really good frameworks to start these DMs. Like, I know there's like, the first one is just like simply yes, no question, and then this or that question, and then you start to unravel into more open-ended questions and stuff like that, right? Even even with all these, it's as you said, like now, there's been a bad reputation given to it because of other marketers just doing it at scale and they're not following these particular like conversation starter, like a natural conversation principles. Instead, they just DMing and dropping straight away. Like it's like good example is you put something in the high level community, something that comes across as somebody might feel like think like, ah, he needs a help. Suddenly you get all these high level expert and I don't mind it, but like it's just the way they just drop this like a big like, hey, here's me, here's what everything I do, like everything, and then let's like straight away let's marry. It's like, come on, like
Yeah. Yeah. You got to date a little bit, guys. Like, and that's exactly what it is, right? You wouldn't just make an offer on a date. You would go, you would get to know the person. Absolutely. And I would say, in groups, right? There's two different things we're talking about, right? There's like working your friends list as a database. There's your Facebook group, which we haven't even talked about yet. But let's say you're in someone else's group, right? Again, my philosophy on this is no, I don't think you should just go in, friend request everybody in a Facebook group and DM them. My opinion is the person who owns that group has worked really hard to build that group. They either did it with sweat equity or they paid ads to build that group. And I just don't think morally it's right for us to just go poach clients.
yeah,
Now, if someone posts something and they're asking for help or asking for a suggestion, then by all means, absolutely. If you have the cure to cancer and someone's asking for it, you're not going to be like, nah, no, I'm in a group, right? And so, of course, you will see. In fact, I didn't even post it. That's the funny part. Someone posted something about, all the DM rules that are happening now with Meta in the last month. And it blew up in the high level group. I seriously, oh my gosh, at least 200 leads joined our group from that one post that wasn't even ours. But because people were like, oh my gosh, DM rules, blah, 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 everyone was like, Jenna, 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 group track, group track. And so, that was amazing. But the beautiful thing was, again, it was only the people that reached out to us that we were like, yes, we can help you. Here's our information. We're not just in there poaching. And I think that's the thing that really irritates people. And again, it just doesn't really work. But yeah, so there's some cool things that you can do in other people's groups. But again, we're gonna take a little bit of a different probably philosophy about it than what you might hear from a lot of other tools and coaches out there. And then you have your whole Facebook group that you own, which is amazing as well, because of course you're in charge and you're setting the tone and you can decide exactly what experience you want people to have inside your group.
okay, let's talk about that. That's intriguing
Yeah.
because Facebook groups have been very effective and they still are effective. There's a few things that, Google, Facebook has changed. Now you can't post, using social scheduler from HighLevel. You mentioned the new rules where you won't be able to DM people. I think, is that already in place? I think it was something about they have to be your friend in order for you to be able to send a message. Or
Yeah. So there's three rules. The first rule is that when you send an initial message, meaning you've never had a connection with this person in the DMs before, you can only send 30 new message requests per 24 hours. So when you DM someone, that first message goes into a message request folder in your
yes,
DM,
hmm
almost like a primary folder versus a spam folder.
yeah,
So you can only send 30 of those per 24 hours. The second rule is that once you message those people once, you cannot message them again until they've accepted your message request. The way that they accept your message request is by replying. So think about this. Even if you message them and they read it, you cannot message them again.
yeah.
And so there's a lot of strategy now on how to get them to DM you back, which is in the templates we're going to give your people. And then the third rule is, and this one has not rolled out yet. So the first two we are seeing in effect right now. GroupTrack's already rolled out all sorts of new features to help you kind of work this and make sure that you're messaging the right people. So we're tracking that for you. But the third one is what you're talking about in terms of friends. This is going to be on Instagram and on Facebook. We haven't seen it roll out yet, although they've been like kind of giving us notifications about it. And the idea is that you cannot message someone unless you're friends with them. One thing to keep in mind, though, if you're already in an established conversation with someone and they're not your friend, that will be grandfathered. So here's the deal. I'm not worried about messaging my friends right now. I'm messaging people who are not technically my friends because I want to build that, that connection before it rolls out. My guess is they announced it, and I think there was probably a lot of pushback. I'll be surprised if they roll it out. We'll see what happens with that one, but we haven't seen it officially come out just yet.
Yeah, so they're probably just waiting for the right moment, or reassessing. Okay.
Yeah, well, yeah, hopefully a reassess. But a Facebook group, right? Owning your own Facebook group, in my opinion, is like one of the greatest things you can do. So to give you guys a little bit of, context. So our business, we're a low ticket offer, right? We're either 97 or 157 is our price point monthly. So it's not a high ticket offer. We have a relatively small group. I don't even know, maybe 3,000 people. I don't have a huge social media following. I think I have like 400 followers on Instagram. Like it's pretty pathetic. And I have a small team. So there's only myself, Lindsay, and a VA that works my group.
Mhm.
Okay. So low ticket, small team, small group. And we collect over 1 million a year. And the beautiful part of it is we've never spent a dollar in ad. So what we're doing with GroupTrack, so using the tool plus the tactics we teach, that's enabling us to do this all organically, which is pretty incredible. And so that's really what we teach. Now, ads are not bad, right? The way we feel about ads is number one, you shouldn't be doing them unless you're at least making 10K recurring monthly. And number two, you have a system to track your leads and you have strategy of how to convert them and the skills to do so. And
Otherwise,
so,
you're just pissing money down the drain.
gosh, you are. It is wild. The people that we talk to that are doing it, I'm just like, okay, show me the leads that the ad came and brought you. And they're like, I don't know where they are. I'm like, well, then how are you talking to them? It's wild. It is actually like, it makes me sad for those people that are just
Yeah,
wasting money,
because
right?
you want
So
to have.
once you,
Yeah, it's like you want to have a really good follow-up sequence for leads as they come in, but then in order to have a good follow-up sequence, which is ideally giving lots of value, that means you need to have content. That means you need to have videos, articles that you send them on the back of these emails to it, and it's
well,
like, right?
Yeah. Okay. So we have a really simple strategy. So before I get into the strategy, which is going to hopefully help a lot of people, we believe that your Facebook group should be like a store that you would walk into in a brick and mortar experience, right? You walk into Nordstrom, right? When you walk into this nice store, what happens? Someone is there and they're like, welcome. Thank you so much for coming in. How can I help you today? What are you looking for? Right? An associate is right there asking to support you. And when you say, oh, I'm looking for a dress, they're going to say, great. What's the occasion? Do you want a fancy dress? Do you want a casual dress? Are you looking for black, white, whatever, right? We're actually uncovering their needs. And then once the person says, yes, I'm looking for a casual dress, I want it to be blue. The associate's going to say, great. here are some options I think would work for you. Let me put you in the dressing room. I'm going to come back in a few minutes and see what works for you. When they come in and check on you, they're going to say, did that work? Is that something you'd like to get? They say, yes. Great. Let me walk you over to the checkout, right? So we know that experience happens in real life. And so my question to everyone is, are you delivering that in the virtual world in your Facebook group? And the resounding answer is no, right? From what we have seen. And my question is why, right? So imagine what's happening. I want you guys to now think about it. Like your Facebook group is a store. People are walking in and you know what we're doing? We're bombarding them with like, hey, do you want to buy my thing? Blah, blah, blah. Or we literally do nothing. They walk in the door. Maybe they answer your group questions and then you just literally are staring at them while they're perusing, right? And then they leave your store because it was a horrible experience.
Yeah.
And so what we teach at GroupTrack is our white glove group strategy, which is that when they come in the door, you should treat them like a wonderful human, get to know them. And what we do in the real world, that full strategy that I just shared is exactly what we do in our group. We welcome you. We DM you. Thank you so much for coming in. What are you looking for? How can we support you? When they tell you what they're looking for, we're like, amazing. We have a training we just did. Let me get you in front of that. And so we tag them in the training. And then we're going to say, cool, I'll follow up with you in a few days to see what you think about it or what questions popped up. We set a task. We reach back out. You're in the dressing room, right? And then we follow up and we ask you, is this something you're going to do? And would you like to learn about how we can help you do it faster? That's the offer, right? So easy. So that should be happening in the background. Like that is how a Facebook group should be run. Now, on top of that, what we do is every single week, we run a strategy called the weekly sales formula. And basically, it is like the most simple, repeatable, easiest thing on the planet. I mean, there's nuances, and skill and things like that. But from like a, conceptual idea, it's very easy. So every single Monday, we start with a hand raiser post that just simply says, hey, who has this problem? We're doing a training this Thursday on that thing. So I'll give you an example. We just did a training last week and we said, hey, who wants our DM templates that help us earn over 6 figures a month? Well, you can imagine everybody's like, me, right? In the chat or in the comment.
Yep.
Right. So what's really beautiful about that is we have this big store and there's tons of people in it, but not everybody has the same problem or the same goal. Right. So by doing that call to action post on Monday, what we're basically doing is sifting in our group and we're looking for our gold nugget. Like who's going to float to the top that is like the leads that we should be following up with for the week.
Right.
So we do our hand raiser post. We do a lot of things to kind of move the algorithm. And then for everybody who comments, we simply use GroupTrack to automatically track all those leads. So we're going to add them to the pipeline.
What, like from that specific post?
And all automatically using GroupTrack.
Okay.
So we click a button. Everybody who commented on the post is immediately going to be tracked in your pipeline in GroupTrack. Everybody will immediately get a tag based on the topic of the week, right? Because we want to be able to segment and support and reach out and know what they asked for.
Yeah.
Everybody will automatically be replied to. Everybody will be automatically reacted, like a like, a love, or whatever you want it to do. And if you want, it will automatically DM them as well. And so the idea is we want to get those people to raise their hands and identify who has the problem with the goal of getting them to opt in to come to our training on Thursday on that topic. And on Thursday, when we do our live training, which we do non-negotiable every Thursday at 12 o'clock Pacific time, we do a training and we really focus on what they should do, not on the how, because you have to pay for the how, right?
Yep.
And so we say, here's what you should do. And then, oh, by the way, you can have this lead magnet or whatever it is that you're going to cover, which again, you're getting more opt-ins, more comments, the algorithm's running. And then basically what we do is a very soft offer, like, cool, you have this. If you want to do it faster, or if you want more support implementing, say the word whatever, right? So for us, we have a low ticket coaching program. And so we'll say pipelines in the chat. So every single week, we're either booking calls or making sales, right? And then every Friday, we follow up with every single person who raised their hand during the week. And we just, make a simple offer.
Yeah.
How can we best support you to move forward? So when it comes to, and the reason why this triggered for me is, you were like, oh man, you have to have content. Well, guess what? We do a video every Thursday. We show up and we give our best training every Thursday. So what's beautiful is the way that we actually build this strategy is based on the pillars of our offer. And so once we go through this, let's say 4 months, because we've got 4 pillars, what's beautiful is we've already done the work. We've made the emails, we've made the posts, we've made our training, we've made our lead magnet. When we come to do it again, it's all done. All we have to do now is show up again. So
Just
once you
run the whole
build your
thing
mission,
again. Is there any
a
issue where
hundred,
people in the group say like, "Oh, you're reposting the same thing I was there 4 months ago"?
oh, absolutely not. And here's the thing. We get that question a lot. And I'm like, I want you to be like, Jenna, I heard that last month. I want when you're like, who's the girl that's the organic, sales girl? I want you to be like, it's Jenna, it's Jenna, it's Jenna, because you've heard me say the word so
Touch
many
points.
times, right? Yeah. And then the other thing is, you may have heard it 4 months ago, but you were at a totally different place in your business 4 months ago,
That's true.
mentally, emotionally, knowledge wise, right? So you may have heard a couple tidbits and been able to implement one thing. 4 months later, you hear it again, you're like, oh, now I get it. Oh my gosh, yes, right? So again, that repetition is actually going to serve you better to serve your clients and have them actually convert. So we want that repetition.
Yeah, I loved it. Now, what I like about this overall as a strategy is that it's just additional channel, effective channel to generate leads and close them. It doesn't mean that you need to, replace it with anything else you do. You may be doing cold emails, you may be doing paid outs, you may be doing, referral partnerships and all those. I like what what's his name, the Alex Hermosi, what he says. Like all these channels, they kind of support each other. Like one of the big ones is he says content marketing, like cold email works. But if you got strong content marketing, YouTube videos, and everything, it just accelerates cold email, because if you do cold email, people might want to check you out. And if they don't see anything, there, it's like it's not going to work. As opposed to if they see that you got all this covered and all this value. So be same thing
Yeah.
with the group, right? If you got this group going, you could get paid leads into your database. You can have follow up nurture set up in HighLevel, short-term nurture for an initial like potential buyers, long-term nurture for the ones that need more time. But also on
Yeah.
the back of these nurtures, you drive them back into the group. So now you kind of like hitting them with
Oh, yeah.
all the angles.
Yeah. And I'd love to just kind of talk about how GroupTrack works with HighLevel because
Yes.
it is a game changer. And one of the things I was telling you is we do integrate with a number of other tools, but nothing comes close to how GroupTrack and HighLevel integrate together. It's pretty incredible. So the way it works is that, when someone joins your Facebook group, you have the option to ask them questions, right? Now, we are very strategic about the questions we want you asking because that's going to help you serve and sell to them better.
Yep.
And so when you have the person answer the questions, one of them is going to be, would you like to opt in to receiving occasional email or SMS? If so, drop your email and your phone number.
Yeah.
So if you just click the button to approve those people into the group, all that information's gone forever, right? With group track running though, when you press approve, a number of things are going to happen. They're going to be approved to your group. That lead is going to be tracked in group track based on how they answered your questions. Tags are going to be applied in group track. All those membership questions and their answers are going to be tracked. But here's what's crazy. The moment you press approve, that contact is also going to be created in HighLevel
Only
immediately.
if it has an email, or even without an email.
Email or SMS
Okay.
is the requirement. Yep. Which, if you're asking the questions the way we suggest, the majority of people will actually give it to you because we, like you said, we don't just we date them first, right? We're like, hi, we help people do this. How would you like to get started in our community? You know what I mean? So we ask really good questions up front. Third question is, would you like to opt in to
Yep.
receiving? Right. So again, we do get a pretty good high, rate of people giving either SMS or email. So the moment you go into HighLevel, you're created in that system as a contact or opportunity and immediately placed into a pipeline that can mirror the pipeline in GroupTrack. So what is incredible, and this is like the game changer with HighLevel, is that imagine when I move that lead in my pipeline in GroupTrack, it also moves them in HighLevel and vice versa. So if I move them in HighLevel, it moves them in GroupTrack.
Is it done
And
through
so
tags, or how do you do that on the back end? Is it through tags, add, remove tags, or is it literally using?
you could do it through, yeah, however you set up your automation. Well, no, because it's a webhook. Sorry, it's a webhook.
Okay, okay, okay.
So
Yeah.
automatically, if I move them here, it moves them there. But of course, right? So imagine you could do a workflow where it's like, if they opt into my masterclass or my webinar, they get this tag in HighLevel.
Mhm.
Well, In HighLevel, it moves them into the stage registered for webinar. It moves them there. And this is the game changer because as I was sharing in the beginning, the problem with what I was teaching in my old company where we didn't have GroupTrack is that copying and pasting and knowing like, oh my God, this system is in this system and it's so disconnected. So especially for our clients that are a little bit higher level with ops teams and sales teams, it's a hot mess because you don't know what's happening where the people are, which is on social media versus what's happening in HighLevel.
Mm.
And so the GroupTrack HighLevel integration really solves that for you. So, I mean, it's actually wild what you can do. So the state or the pipeline sync, the stages sync, and the tag sync. And like I said, no other tool that we integrate with has that capability except for HighLevel. So funny. I did a poll in our group the other day. Just curious. So, well, what tool are you guys using? And it was like 85% were using HighLevel.
Mm.
And I was like, yeah, doesn't surprise me because it has the best capability for truly knowing what's happening. And so the way I like to kind of describe it is GroupTrack tells you what to do, right? Send this message, welcome them to your group, uncover their needs, do this thing. And then what's happening in HighLevel is what the lead is doing. They read this email, they opted into this and so forth, right?
Yep.
And so, with the algorithm and all the craziness, we actually use kind of a three-prong approach, which is we use our Facebook group, which is, algorithm and so forth. We use the DMs, which is like glorious, but we use email every single week. So as I was mentioning with our weekly sales formula, I was saying, oh, we do the Monday post, right? Our call to action post on Monday. But when you do a post, do you get many comments on your stuff? Most people don't, right? Like crickets.
Yeah, so I mean, in particular, I've been focusing on this podcast. So I create, about 35 pieces of content per episode, and I stretch it out so it covers about 8 months worth of, content,
Yeah.
reels and stuff. Not
Yeah.
much, not much traction. I must say, not much
Yeah.
traction.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
it's almost like,
you
and then lately it's funny. It's been like Facebook trying to push me the verification membership, but they've
yeah.
got 4 tiers, both for Facebook and Instagram, and I feel like they just like made it like I got zero reach.
Yeah.
They're
So
literally
here's what
copying
we
it.
do.
Yeah.
Right. So what you can do, this is like a ninja hack. You guys cannot tell anyone because this is like our secret. Okay. So we're going to give it to you. Don't tell anyone.
Mm.
What we do is imagine you do your post in your group or even on your personal page, LinkedIn, Instagram, I don't care. On your actual post on social media, if you click on the timestamp, you can grab what we call a permalink.
Yeah.
And that's literally like the URL for that post. Take that, copy it, put it in your email. Oh my gosh, did you see this thing that Jenna just delivered? Click here. Hey, do you want the DM templates that help, collect 6 figures a month? Click here. So we're not putting our lead magnets in our email. We're putting the link to our post in the email.
Nice.
Does that make sense?
You kind
So
of
when you
hack the Facebook brutal algorithm.
we're literally boosting it for free,
Yeah.
right? So we'll email our entire email list and you can use HighLevel obviously to do that. And then what you're going to do is just say, hey, do you want this thing? They click there. If they're already in your Facebook group, it takes them directly to the post. Even if they don't comment on it, the algorithm is like, ooh, more eyeballs, more eyeballs, more eyeballs. Let me show this to more people. But here's what they do. If you craft that post right, people are going to comment because they want your thing.
Yeah.
More comment, more algorithm. It snowballs. It's really incredible, right? And then, of course, when we run the group track automation to automatically reply, now we're boosting the algorithm again. Like it's just a big snowball every week. So the other piece is if they're not in your Facebook group and they click that link, the thing that's going to happen is it's going to prompt you to join the group. So it's a way to organically grow your group every single week for free. So pretty cool. So again, you guys, when I share this, I just went into a huge community the other day and did a private training for 7 and 8 figure earners. And they were like, are you joking? I thought this was something everybody knew. So again, like, hopefully you guys are like, what the heck? This is cool. Give it a try. You're going to see it's
I
like
love
the
it.
easiest
I
hack.
love it. I must say though, is I'm kind of half on that. Like, that's just me, subjective. I get these emails, and I have come across where it's taking me to a group that I'm not part of, and it happened a few times, and it just felt a little bit forced. So I didn't join that group. I just wanted to. So to me, it was created a bit of a friction because they presented me with a, hey, here's the thing, click here to access it, but then I couldn't access it. So like in marketing, there's a thing. It was like, if you say there's something, make it easy for them to access it. So I think
Yeah, let me
it's
fight
pros and
back.
cons, right?
No, I love it. I'm gonna fight back, right? I want the lead that is willing to do 2 clicks to give the value I'm gonna give, because here's the truth, right? My group, we give more free training than you can believe. We pull back the curtain, we give the strategies, we do the thing, like, we literally share our entire organic strategy. So for me, if you literally can't click a button to come into my group, then it's not an ideal client for me, right? So there's pros and cons, right? Of course. And, I think for the most part, and, maybe it's possible we're pissing people off and we don't even know, right?
Well, the only
But
caveat I was gonna say with that is like, if I don't know anything about you, if I got your email list somehow, I don't know anything about the value that's inside the group because there's no way to see it, then that could be a friction,
but
potentially.
you're on their email list, which means you opted into something. So ideally, there
Yeah,
is some sort of
that
relationship,
is true.
right?
Yeah,
And we're obviously sending emails every day with value and service and support, right? So it's not just that we're like, hey, click our email, get our thing, it's not cold. The people on our email list have opted into receiving information. We send the, great emails. So when we send the one that's like, hey, do you want this really cool resource? And you can even say it's inside our Facebook group. Click
yeah.
here to grab it.
There you go. Yeah. If you're not
Helps.
part of
Yeah.
it, like a little asterisk. By the way, if you're not part of the group, it'll take you there. You just join the group. It's free, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. And the truth is, we know, especially if you run a group like we do with that really white glove group strategy where we're serving and we're supporting, we're treating you like a really good person in our group. For the most part, people, when they join, they're like blown away. They're like, whoa, I did not know that we were going to get this level of service. And so, for the most part, I think when people join the community, they're really pleased.
No, I like it. I like it. In terms of, so mentioned high level is the most, like is what you can do most with in terms of integration. What about the other ones like ClickFunnels? What do they stand?
Say that again.
ClickFunnels. How well does your software integrate with like ClickFunnels, for example?
Yeah. So with the ClickFunnels integration, they're going through some things where they're moving from 1.0 to 2.0 right now.
Are
So
they
with
still doing it?
well, I think that 2.0 is available, but you don't have to go to it. I think it's an
Oh,
option
okay.
for
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. My understanding is that they offer both and you can upgrade or stay. So we integrate with both. The first one is just like anybody we integrate with, like Kartra, Active Campaign. Actually, Active Campaign is a little bit better. But basically, what it means is we can still capture that information, your email, create the person. The differentiator with Go High Level is that the pipelines, the stages, the tags sync 2 ways, which with the others, it's a push into the system, but we don't get the feedback into GroupTrack.
Yes.
Tunnels 2.0 will be like the integration with High Level. It's just still being built currently because they're moving to that deal space.
Yeah. I wanted to follow back on talking about customization. In the world we live in right now, automation is becoming increasingly common. We all use it. It's amazing. You emphasize the importance in building authentic relationship with customers, right? But how do you balance automation with personalization?
I'm so glad you asked. As you know, I feel like you can tell my heart is in the like really personalized, right? As I mentioned before, right? We are not a bot. And that's what people want, which always blows my mind. But again, I know it's because of a time piece, right? Like we want to clone ourselves and all the things, right? But that's just not the space that we play in. And so, as you use an automation and group track, sure, it's going to react, reply, and send the initial DM. And so it's going to save you hours and hours, just in that. But once the person responds, right, like that's where I kind of feel like work your job like a robot. Send the initial message, set a task for follow up, no emotion, be a robot. And that is how I work my business every single day, right? I'm like, it's not how many people responded, how many people bought my thing. I cannot base success off that because I cannot control that. I can control myself, right? Jenna, did you send your welcome DMs? Did you set your task? Did you follow up? If I do that, I win every day, right? So very robotic in the way that I work, group track in the morning, right? Then what we do is say, okay, now it's in the hands of the person. My job is to make the outreach. Their job is to determine if they want to write back.
Yeah.
And so a lot of really cool things. So for example, one of the big struggles with in the DMs is if you're sending a lot of DMs, which you should be because your output determines your input, but it can get a little crazy in the DMs, right? Like you can lose messages, it's overwhelming, right? So group track works in the DMs as well. So not only will you see the stage of where the person is in your pipeline, the tags, the notes, all of the things, but there's also this little button that you can click and you can say, show me messages I haven't read. Show me messages the recipient hasn't read. Show me messages I read but forgot to respond to, right? So like
Oh,
we can
nice.
drill down. We
Excellent.
had a client, he had sent all these email or DMs with an offer. And he clicked the button and he was like, oh my gosh, 27 people had responded that they wanted to buy. He never saw them because it's like they get buried, right? It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's like, oh my God, Daniel, if you had closed those, he's a high leveler, by the way. I said, if you had closed those, what would you have converted? And it was $50,000. Yikes. One
Massive.
button clicked in group track would have, converted 57. So anyways, right? So what's beautiful about that is you can use technology to help you focus your time to be a human in the DMs, right? And so our whole goal is that you're going to scale the outreach, but still enable you to be very personalized in it, right? So, just in terms of like our DMs, right? We've built in all this functionality where every time a message sends, the message is going to look different. It pulls in their name. It does all these things to really customize the experience and help you stay out of Facebook jail. But once they respond is where you're going to turn to be a human. So where we see the scaling is on the outreach, then where we see the human is on the outbound response, right? So lots of cool ways that you can do that. But again, we will like die on the hill. Is that what you say? Die on the hill? I don't know. I always screw up the sayings.
Never heard of that
No,
expression
I know
before.
it. Yeah, well, okay, good. Well, I probably said it wrong, so maybe that's good. That's like
Well,
part of the Gemini experience.
I want to follow up on that. So personalization. So you mentioned you've got a way how you can make the messages unique. We know there's a thing like spin tags. So I assume that's one of the
Yep.
ways. But what about AI?
Oh, RI is legit. And let me tell you. So I don't know that I even shared this. So Group Track has, I think, gosh, like this month is our 4-year anniversary. And so for the past year and a half, we have literally built the tool from the ground up, rebuilding it, making it more intuitive, easier, more features, like all this stuff. And so we're about to launch it in September, which we're so excited about.
Nice.
Once we launch the new tool, and we work all the things out and we get everybody migrated over, our development team is going to be doing a 3-month sprint on just AI. But so it's going to be like 50,000 times more advanced than it is now. But let me tell you what it is now. So when you open Group Track, there is a little tab that says set up and train your AI. And it's going to ask you questions about your business, your target client, the market, words that you use, your offer, things like that, right? Then it's going to ask you things about your tone of voice, or like it even asks you like your Myers Briggs and like all sorts of personality things, so that it really is going to come like mine is like marked as like the creator, like innovator and idealist. So I'm very to the point, very blunt, that type of thing.
Yep.
And so you fill all of this out. The other thing that you can do is it will pull in your pipeline and you can tell the AI, what do you want to have this lead experience at each step or each point in your process? And so what's incredible is as you're bringing the leads through the system, AI is able to say, hey, based on where they are in the pipeline, we think this should be the DM you send next. And then it will give you those suggestions.
Okay.
It'll also look at your contact card and look at the tags you've applied, the messages you've sent, and again, where they are in the pipeline. And that's how it's going to give you your next best message. So it's crazy. And I know the things that we have scheduled to be released once we release 2.0, it's going to be so crazy. We
That
cannot even
is
wait.
very exciting. I had a conversation with Ty Shane. He was on an episode. Actually, he was just released a couple of weeks back on an episode. I'm talking about it as if it already happened. I just got to finish it. And anyway, it's weird talking about the past where it hasn't happened yet. But his specialty is cold email using a bit more sophisticated tech stack. So normally cold email you might use something like Instantly, but he's took it to another level with things like
Yeah.
Clay. With Clay, you can basically plug in other different data sources and to fully enrich that data point, that one
Yep.
column, that
Yep.
row per contact. And then that means there's more data and you pass it over to AI and that can create these even like super personalized outreach cold email messages that are highly effective.
Yeah.
So I would think, okay, that makes sense to do that when you're reaching out cold email. I wonder how
Yeah.
that.
He just got this just the other day and he's like, oh my gosh, this plus group track. He was like in our ear the other day. That's funny.
How you know him? Awesome. So I wonder, like, if you had that capability to add data enrichment through other sources of data, and then link them up, correlate them properly to the person, to the right person, whether that be like, because if you have a conversation in DMs and then suddenly you drop some insight about them that you found out, and it might be like, oh, like that must, be interesting. I probably wouldn't work.
Yeah,
So
that'll be interesting. And I do know that we have some data
I'd be like,
enrichment
oh,
still.
that's creepy. How did you know that?
Yeah. Well, here's the flip side. How many messages have you gotten that was like, "Hey, I just looked at your profile and my team and I think you'd be a great fit for whatever," right? And then
Yeah,
they're like, "We really think we could teach you social media outreach."
really.
Or I get one all the time like, "Oh my gosh, do you want to use our Facebook, CRM?" And I'm like, "You clearly did not take 30 seconds to look and see that I own a tool
It's just
that does
paste,
this."
copy paste. Yeah.
Right. So it's like, which evil do you want? You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah, it's annoying. Yeah,
so
yeah. It's the same
so it's
example
kinda like,
of the experts, the wannabe experts in high level community where they reach out to me. And it's like, I see that you've just signed up for high level. I'm an expert. I'm like, dude, like, have you looked at what
yeah,
I do? I sell
no,
premium
they have not.
snapshots to agencies, and I've been.
Right.
It's annoying.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. And so that's the thing, right? It's like, okay, if we do a little data enrichment, they're gonna have more information and but would you rather someone actually take that time and be like, hey, I see that you own group track and you do this and da da da. How can we collaborate versus trying to sell them a competitor's tool? It's like, come on, people.
Jenna, we are nearing on an hour. I've got a couple of rapid fire questions. This is a new thing I started to do, and we've got also some regular segments, so we'll see how far we go. But these are high level related questions. You've been high level for how long?
Well, we've integrated with HighLevel, gosh, over a year, maybe 2 years.
So yeah, so
And
integration
I'm
wise,
not yeah, go ahead.
do you use high level like for your
I
business?
personally do not know. So I'm
Okay.
not gonna know technical stuff, but we have an official partner that is everything group track plus high level. So as we get the questions that come in, we send everybody to her because she is the genius of how to use group track and high level.
Okay, great. Okay, so we'll move past those questions, and that kind of moves us to really the only segment question that I wanted to ask you, which is this segment. We have a segment called "Move the Needle," where we discuss, impactful strategies that drive business growth. You've already shared, you already shared everything to do with organic cold outreach, but I'm curious because also your background in corporates, you've been TEDx speaker. Maybe we can dive into some, go back in history, and there might be some nuggets, some strategy non-related to what you do now. Would you think of one? Could you share one that, like a specific strategy that really significantly contributed to your success?
Yeah, and I would say like business strategy, I will say this.
Yeah.
Everybody in the world is a coach now. Everybody in the world, because everybody's a coach, must be a content creator. And so the space is very noisy, right? And I think it's very frustrating for people that are like, dude, I just want to be a really good coach on marriages. I just want to be a really good coach on whatever, right? But all of a sudden now they have to be a content creator because if you do not have attention and you
Mm.
don't have skill, you're not getting clients in 2024 and beyond. And so I know that there's a lot of frustration. And so everybody's telling you content, 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 right? Well, I like to work as lazy as possible. We call it efficient. I call it lazy, whatever, right? But I want to play with my kids. And so, as I was mentioning before, I don't truly believe that you have to sit and create all this content. I think that so much of what you do, for example, when we go live every week, we just repurpose all of that into
Yeah.
our reels and all the things, right? But here's the thing. If you've bought into this idea that you have to be everywhere all the time and all the content, I'm just going to like lovingly shake you on this one thing, which is if you're going to do all that work to make the videos, produce them, edit them, post them, pray to the algorithm, whatever it is that you're doing, for the love, follow up with the people who engage, right? Because if you do all that to just put a post on social media, you are not going to actually make money. And so this is the thing. I look at all these influencers that like, sure, cool, you have millions of views. But my question is, do you have millions in your bank? Right. And a lot of them don't because what they're focused on is the vanity metric.
Yeah.
How many eyeballs, how many views, how many likes, how many loves. What I don't see on a lot of them, and I do on some, is where is the reaction to the comments? Why are you not in the comments being like, yes, I agree. Thank you so much. What was your question? Da da da. Have a conversation with these people, whether it be in the comments on the post or in the DMs, right? Again, I just don't understand, why do we do all this work and then let it stop, right? Fortune's in the follow up, right? And so, again, when you're doing this content, track the people who are engaging with you. You know what I mean? Those are your warm leads. And it's like, why would we go chase cold people who know nothing about us, and are probably irritated by our outreach if it's completely cold, when you have someone who has taken the time to watch your stuff, comment on your stuff? Like, those are the people, we call them yellow cars, right? It's your ideal client. When they're literally sitting there telling you, honking their horn and saying, I'm your ideal client. I have the problem you're talking about, or I have the goal that you can help me achieve. We've got to follow up and track those people. And so, whether you do it with a spreadsheet, which would blow my mind, or you use a tool like GroupTrack plus HighLevel, it's going to be the game changer. But whatever you do, if you're going to do the work, finish it up by engaging back and making an offer if appropriate.
Yeah. And by the
Because we're
way,
gonna run out.
even the spreadsheet works, but obviously
Yeah.
it's not that scalable. Like I've worked for an agency a couple of years back. It was a short stint because we ended up separating our ways for personal conflict of how, anyway, it didn't work out, but it was an agency that helps small boutique, like a functional training studios. And so I got on board and my task was like, hey, help us generate more leads, help us generate more studios. So I was, applying that same principle, like outreach,
Absolutely.
yes, no question, this and that question, open-ended question through the DMs with owners of these studios. I obviously had to find them, but not that really that difficult, if you know where to go, where to look.
Yeah.
And then I had a spreadsheet. So I had two monitors and I was like, this, okay. And then people reply. Now I'm having conversation that led into a booking. It worked. And we closed a bunch
Yeah.
of them as clients. So
Yeah.
guys, like if you're
It's
listening, because at the end of the day, it's not just us here talking about, I
yeah,
always like to focus like, hey guys, like you're here with us here the whole time. We just
totally.
talked. But guys, if this works, like I can definitely vouch for it, not just because I believe in it, but I've actually done it myself. I didn't do it at scale, like using a tool that allows you to do that, but it definitely works. So, Jenna, you've shared a lot of good insights about the product that you offer. Now, I bet you there'll be people interested, people listening. They're like, Give me the link, give me the
They haven't
offer."
even said it yet.
I haven't
I know,
seen
we're
it,
just
yeah.
talking about it. I'm gonna paint, like, the most beautiful picture, you guys. Imagine you literally hover over anybody's name anywhere on Facebook or Instagram and instantly add them into a little sidebar that pops up on your screen on top of the platform, and that person is now in your pipeline, in your CRM. It's crazy. So imagine again, it's like you are working where your people are instead of like copy paste, losing, all the craziness. So absolutely, if you guys want to grab a free trial, the coolest thing, because I know like when we talk about like another CRM, right? Our number one, objections are time, learning another tech, all of those things. And so we crushed those objections pretty well. So one of the things that you'll see is when you sign up for a free trial, we immediately take you through a self-guided onboarding. It's one of our things that we're most proud of, and we get like the greatest feedback on almost every day. Because what we do is we walk you through these very baby bite sized things that are going to get you to use the tool immediately. So we're going to say, go add Jenna as a friend, send her this DM template we've given you. And so we really get you using the tool immediately so that you can be like, what the heck is this crap? Like, it's so good, right? Because we want you to feel like, okay, I can do this. It's not so difficult. So our onboarding is incredible. And so I want to just kind of take away the fear of that. And of course, it's very quick. It takes about 20 minutes if you do it just sitting and you kind of get through it. And then we, in our Facebook group where everybody is welcome to join, we do weekly free trainings where we support you, we help you, we give you strategies and all the things. So our clients are pretty well taken care of. So grab that free trial.
Well, that all sounds nice, but what's the link? What's the link?
Oh yes. Yes. Well, we're gonna give them a special link. So
Oh,
we'll
yes.
drop that.
Yeah, so guys, so the link is going to be, if you head over to highlevelexperience.com HighLevel.com/GroupTrack, you'll be able to find out more details about the offer and how you can, how you can claim the trial. And I'm gonna sweeten the deal. If this is if you're first rodeo on this podcast, if you haven't listened to past episodes, then you haven't heard me talking about this. But I've got a couple of lead magnets too. Obviously, there's one that I've been promoting lately, and it just seems to be, a lot of interest for it. It's a deep links generator. It's nothing too fancy. It's a spreadsheet with about 80 rows in it. And what it does, it gives you direct links that you can dynamically generate for your white label. Because with HighLevel, the idea is that you resell it right under your own brand. So that means you should have, instead of gohighlevel.com URL, like app.gohighlevel.com URL, it should be your own white label domain, right? So you just replace that white label domain in a spreadsheet. There's a little field for that, and that's going to regenerate all those deep links. And those are basically, HighLevel has so many amazing features. Social media scheduler might be a one, or affiliate manager, or all these different features. And obviously you're signing up your customers onto your white label version of the software, right? But when they start with you working the first time, obviously you want to onboard them and you want them to start utilizing the software. There's one of the really critical KPIs when it comes to software is time to forget the name, but it's basically how quickly can you get somebody to learn the platform, because quicker they learn the platform, quicker they're going to succeed, much longer they
Right.
stay, reducing churn, all that, right? And so
Absolutely.
the way I do it, I've got this thing called a weekly business growth check, right? It's just a simple automation that I created, just part of this snapshot there also for a SaaS agency
Right.
system. You can check it out. But anyway, I just created something. I want it to be like, hey, I want to be every week, I want to be in all my customers' inbox once a week, and do it like diligently every week, but not be same email every week. So it kind of varies. Like beginning of the month is like, hey, how did you go last month? You should check in on your progress. But by the way, here are core four things that we recommend, regardless of what business industry you're in. These four things are really basic, and if you haven't got marketing campaigns, anything built, just these four things: check your pipeline, check your conversation box, make sure that you've got some content scheduled through socials, and send some review requests. So it's just a simple thing, and it's just generic. It works for everybody. But in that email, when we say do those four things, we also include direct links to them. And those direct
Mhm.
links are those deep links. So sorry for a long-winded explanation, guys, but that's what it is. If you got the grasp of it and you can see the value in it, it is yours. Just opt in for it on that same page, highlevelexperience.com/group track. Find about everything that Jenna offers. This is amazing platform, group track. Get on a trial and start winning with organic outreach and organic way to generate leads, because it's effective, works. And then if you scroll further down, you can opt in for the deep links generator, guys. So Jenna, we are at the end. We are at the end. We've done it. This is an hour, and I like to keep it to an hour these days. So thank you so much for being on. This is very valuable. Most of the folks listening are high levelers, newbies all the way to seasoned experts, and we can all appreciate vendors like you who are making amazing tools to make our game, our business entrepreneurship game better. By the way, one thing forgot to ask you, actually, one thing I forgot to ask you: do you have it as a white label solution? Can I resell this to my end clients?
We do. Yeah, we do. It's not, I know a lot of people want like free sub accounts. We don't do that in terms of like you get it and then everybody on your system does. I know that's a big thing high level clients have been asking for, but we do have a really cool resell option. And it's a little bit of a co-brand because we want to make sure we do all the customer support for you. But that's definitely something you guys can reach out about as well.
Okay, great. That's excellent, because that would work specifically for coaches that you have as customers on your white label, right? Coaches, consultants.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I would say, in fact, every single partner that we've ever brought on as our co-branded, it's not quite white label, every single one of them uses high level.
Excellent. Well, that's great. That's great. So, guys, check it out. Reach out to Jenna if you're interested in that. Make sure you join her group and experience what it
Yeah.
is to be part of
Yeah.
a group that's well run. And with that, guys, Jenna, thank you so much for being on. Guys, thank you for listening to today's episode on the high level experience. If you enjoyed today's episode, then please share it with your fellow agency mates and other high levelers that you know you think would also benefit from listening. For show notes, links, and extra tips to help you grow your agency or your SaaS with high level, please go to highlevelexperience.com. If you want to check out my stuff, I sell premium GHL snapshots. I've got a whole bunch of stuff there. So just head over to my website, vitmiller.com. For the offer, for today's offer, the free trial of GroupTrack, once again, highlevelexperience.com/GroupTrack. Find out everything about there. And with that, guys, thank you so much for listening and have a great rest of your day, everybody.